Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Josh, and Happy New Year! Now, I am well aware that this is not the first video that has gone out in the new year, just because of the order that I shot and recorded things and then got things edited. You've probably seen some RAV4 Prime content go out before this, and that was fully intentional. I didn't want to delay those videos just because of this one. But I think this is the first time I'm officially saying Happy New Year to you all, and I hope that you are having an amazing new year so far. Now today's video is not exactly going to be the big fun travel vlog to Hawaii that I was intending it to be. We'll talk about why that is in a little bit later on in this video. You'll hear a little bit about it in the clip that will follow this one. But long story short, as some of you all know, and as I've mentioned here and there, my mother is going through some health issues, and one of the reasons that we go back to Hawaii so often is because both of our parents are there. And on this trip, because my mother's health kind of took a turn for the worse, we ended up just kind of spending more time with her and, and not really doing all the touristy stuff. But with that said, I did want to still put some stuff out from this video because as I've been hinting here and there, toward the end of last year, we have acquired a new car. And there's a lot of footage. I did shoot a lot of footage of that when we were there in Hawaii. I am head over heels in love with this thing. So I'm going to put a bunch of that up here right up front. And then if you want to continue watching after that, there will be a bunch of, we did do a lot of fun stuff, and John and I did have, a number of days to ourselves in Hawaii where we could do the touristy thing and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to do the car stuff up front, and that way, if that's all you want to see, you can just peace out after that. And if you want to see more of Hawaii and more of our trip, you can just continue watching. So let me throw the car stuff in here right up front. You'll hear a little bit about my mom, and my mom is partly why we have this car and we're figuring out what to do with it. But anyway, a lot more to come on that. Let me show you the car. Let's get to that. All right, guys, here we are. We are in the car. I have so much to tell you. Fair warning up front. Some of this is not going to be the happiest news, but that's why I'm covering it up front here, because I don't want this to be a negative video in any kind of way. So let me tell you, kind of just launch on in, give you the backstory, tell you how we got here, and then show you the car that we're sitting in. So my mom is currently suffering from the progression of a brain tumor and some other stuff going on up there. Now, let me be very clear. I don't say that to, garner sympathy or anything like that. It's all good. We've known that this is coming for a while, so we're just making the most of the time that we have with her. And it's a good reminder, I think, like I've said before, to, live in a very deliberate way, right? Do the things that you want to do, buy the new car, buy the fun car, buy the fancy car, whatever. And she actually did that, which is very out of character for her, because my parents they will save every penny, for no reason at all other than to save money, even though they have more money than they'll ever be able to spend in their lifetime, even if they need, intense care the way that my mom does now. So my mom bought herself a brand new car in 2023, and that's what we're sitting in right now. I will show you more of this here in a bit, but this is the 2024 Honda Civic that I did a video on last time we were in the islands. And the thing is, now she's in no condition to drive. And my father has bought a new car back in 21 or 22. And so this poor little Civic, this wonderful little Civic, is sitting here with about 1,900 miles on it or something like that. It's about a year and a half old at this point, I think. It still smells like a new car, and it's nothing special, but I love this car so much. I don't think we'd ever bring it up to Texas, but we come back so often that we could leave it here and own this car and always have a car to come back to. Anyway, that's what's going on. This is the car, and now let me turn you around. I've talked for how many minutes now of nonsense, so let me turn you around and let me show you this car. All right, guys, so here it is. Look at this adorable little base Honda Civic. This is a 2024 Civic LX in, I think this is the Orchid White Pearl. It is the base model, which is exactly what Ina wanted. So we have like steel wheels and hubcaps, which is hilarious to me. This car does have a little bit of damage on it, which is like driving me nuts, because as you guys know, I am it's like OCD to a criminal degree about my cars, and so stuff like that, which is not me. This is not me. This is Ina's driving. But stuff like that, you know, I might try to figure out how to get that fixed. And there's just some like real minor kind of scuffing on some of the bumpers, but in every other way, this car is just such a wonderful, and the thing is, like, this thing is brand new, all things considered. It's got 1,900 miles on it. It is the LX, so it's got the good 2.0 inline 4. And the thing I love about Honda's, even their base cars, like, we have the same headlights that are on every other Civic, same taillights. So we have LED turn signals, full LED lighting, really nice DRL accent strip. We even have painted mirror caps and a lot of really nice features in this car that you typically, like, at least with Toyota, you wouldn't find on a base model car. So here we are inside. We have a really nice gauge cluster. We do have full, you know, keyless access and all that kind of thing. So let me start this guy up here. Really nice gauge cluster. Honda does it's kind of like a 2/3 screen. So, you know, everything from here to the left is a display. This is a physical gauge. We have the teeny tiny radio, which is adorable, but still has full Apple CarPlay, which is really nice. Obviously my phone's not plugged in, but the thing about this car, okay, the thing I really love about the Civic and Honda's kind of new products in general, nothing in here. This is, okay, let me set some context. This is a $23,500 car or so, okay? But look at all the nice switchgear. I mean, can you hear that? Like this is really nice, really nice tactile details. This, I think, is metal because I don't think you could get plastic filaments that thin. And if you press on these, like, there's very little give, and especially when these are cold, when the air is blowing on them, they feel like metal, so I think this is actually metal trim. And then we have a soft touch, like full soft touch dash, even though this is a base model car, like really nice soft touch materials. Some of this on the door card is hard, but you know, it's a base model car, $23,000 car. This is all upholstered, so really nice there, nicely padded. The steering wheel here is urethane, but it's got a nice kind of squish to it, so it doesn't feel like cheap and hard the way that some new Toyota cars feel. And you know, everything else in this cabin, there you can see the door card much better there. Everything in this car is so wonderfully, I don't know, tactile, nicely designed. I know some people think Honda's interiors feel just kind of boring. I think they feel very classic, very elegant. I think this is going to age really well, unlike some of Toyota's interiors with all the weird shapes and stuff. And Honda learned that lesson kind of the hard way with, like, you know, some of their older vehicles as well. So really nice, really streamlined, you know, good buttons, good layout, everything like that. And the materials in this car, again, for $23,000, the thing, you know, as I got into this car when we arrived and I started driving it around, the thing that really stood out to me was this car has better materials than the 1958 Land Cruiser we were driving. It has better materials than like a $40,000 to $50,000 Tacoma. It's going to have better materials than probably a $60,000 4Runner. And we are in a $23,000 base model Honda Civic. And like, hello. You know, it's not the biggest screen. This is a 7-inch display, but it's high res and it, you know, it works really well. You can do all the things that you'd want to do on this kind of touch screen, and you have Google Maps, and you don't, you know, because you have CarPlay, you don't need to subscribe to any kind of navigation or anything like that. It just works, it works so wonderfully. So yeah, this is our new car, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited about it because I love, you guys know me, if you know me at all, you know how much I love a good cheap car, and this is an outstanding cheap car. Also, one more really quick thing. I love the doors in here. They sound and feel so good. Nice door thunk. Really substantial feeling. And then when you close them, like no tinny sounds whatsoever. I mean, this feels as good as my Lexus, my GX, and easily as good as, you know, any premium vehicle out there. Sounds and feels much better than, again, most of Toyota's new cars and trucks. So yeah, What a wonderful little car. Good morning, guys. We are headed to the drugstore this morning to run a few errands for my parents. And I am once again in my wonderful Civic. I love this car so much, you guys. It's borderline ridiculous just how in love with this car I am. I thought I would show you kind of what this car looks like in the, well, it's early morning hours here. So let's start her up. I love the gauge sweep there. And this car is just so incredibly pleasant. Like, you know, this is Honda's old 2.0 liter 4-cylinder. No turbo, no anything like that. And yet, it runs so incredibly smoothly. Oops. Sorry about that. Runs so incredibly smoothly as well. And it's just such a joy to, you know, drive around. It's quiet, it's refined, and it feels so solid. But before we get actually out on the road, let me show you what the headlights and taillights look like on this car. Because, oh, it's mad about the key. Look at that, we've got a full LED accent strip. We have our LED headlights, full LED headlights on both sides. Beautiful. And then let's come check out the taillight. So even though this is a base model car, I mean, we have full, you know, it's not just some little, you know, teeny tiny red light. It is a full accent strip that goes all the way onto the tailgate there. Really nice. Love this car so much. I love that Honda doesn't really cheap out with their lighting, even when you get, you know, the base car with steel wheels. So with that, I'm gonna head to the grocery store or the drugstore, and then probably stop by Starbucks as well to pick up a drink. And if the sun is up, comes up here, I might swing by the beach and show you guys some of that. So yeah. Alright guys, well guess what? The sun is just coming up, so we are, it's perfect timing to take you to where I want to take you, which is conveniently also like literally 3 minutes from my house, or my parents' house. So let's head on over there and catch the Hawaiian sunrise. You know what's really funny about driving this car, and I alluded to it in the review video I did with this car, but coming back now, you know, again, into this car, having driven it around now for a couple days, and I'm gonna spend basically 10 days with this car while we are here in the islands. And it's funny because this car is so solid. It has a feeling of quality that you just don't really get in a lot of cars, especially like, you know, many cheaper cars. And again, not to call out Toyota, but a lot of cheaper Toyota cars. There's a solidity in here that you just don't find out there, and that, like, you know, even in some regards our Camry doesn't have. And yet this Civic, there's many elements, and I know this is going to sound crazy, there's a lot of elements of the way that this car drives, you know, how quiet the engine is, how refined it is, just, you know, in normal operation, that really do remind me of my GX. And I know that that sounds crazy, but like, trust me, it's so pleasant, it's so refined. Honda's done just a great job with their new products, and I've thoroughly enjoyed driving this car. Now, we are almost to where we're going, so let me pull in, find a parking space, and I'll show you the view. Are you guys ready for this? I am so excited. This is one of my favorite things to do when I come home, is watch the sunrise. So let me show it to you. Is this car the luckiest little car in the world? I mean, it gets to watch this. It gets to live here, first of all, and it gets to watch the sunrise. This is the backside of Diamond Head, so we're on the slopes of Diamond Head right now, and this lucky little car. I'm talking kind of quietly because there's a lot of people around here, but you know, when I say living deliberately, this is the kind of stuff I mean. Taking the time to watch the sunrise, you know, watching the surfers on the water, slowing down, taking in the moment. I know I'm using technology right now, but like disconnecting, being in the moment. But I had to share it with you, right? So, yeah. Alright guys, well, back from the beach, and I guess you could say this is my Christmas present. Thought I would show you the Civic one more time. This is such a great little car. I love this car so much. It's such a wonderful little, you know, runabout kind of car. So pleasant, so incredibly refined, so effortless to drive. But it's also got, you know, it doesn't feel, it's got kind of a soul and spirit to it that I think a lot of little, you know, Toyota hybrids don't. I don't know what it is about this car. I just absolutely love it. Really, I think the only thing, if we end up actually doing something with this car, the only thing I want to do is change the wheels. But other than that, there's honestly not much I would want to do or that I dislike about this car. And you know, part of it is that it's special because it's my mom's car, but even without that, you know, I would happily spend the $24 whatever $1,000, you know, that a new one would cost, or, you know, maybe a little bit more for the hybrid, to have this car. It's just, I don't know, it's just fantastic. Been so much fun to drive, and I'm really gonna miss it when we go home. Alright guys, well, this is our last day with this car. I am gonna miss it so much when we have to go home. This is the perfect car to have on the island. I'm so glad we do have it, and it's gonna be really hard to leave it behind, but you know what? That's okay. It gives me something to look forward to every time we come back. I hope you enjoyed the Civic, and stay tuned if you want to see more from Hawaii. So yeah, we are now the very proud, very happy owners of formerly my mother's 2024 Honda Civic LX. And you saw in the video just how much we love the car. I can't wait to get back to it next time we go back, which with my mom in the condition she's in, I'm sure won't be, we'll probably get back more often than we already do. Now, one thing I wanted to mention here that I forgot to mention kind of anywhere else in the clips that I took of the car is, one other thing that makes that car really special for me is, and you might know this if you've watched any of my other Q&A videos, my parents have never, I come from a very Asian household. My parents never gave me a car. They never really gifted me anything. I was always on my own. Anything I wanted, I had to buy myself with my own money. Like, they wanted nothing to do with it. And it's just kind of funny, now that I'm older, I'm an adult. We're, financially established, and my parents are getting up there in age. The fact that they were willing to just kind of, give us and gift us this car makes it really special, I think, because that was something that they've never done for me before. And I will, my dad was kind of like, if you want to sell it, like, go ahead. And I was like, no, I'm not going to sell this thing. This is really special because of, not just because it's my mom's car, but because, you all were just willing to let us have it. And I want to keep it, forever for that reason alone. So anyway, love the car so much. I will, when we go back, I will definitely try to, make some Civic content and kind of give you an update on the car as we see it again. And now, before we move on to the scenery and the shopping and everything else in the video, there is one more car that I want to share with you as part of this video. Now, this next one we do not own. So no, we did not add a fifth car to the list of cars that we own, but this one was really fun to experience. So let me show you some of that here. All right, guys, so we are waiting for the car, and I've got a bit of a surprise for you because we are not in the Civic today, because John and I spent quite a bit of this trip apart, him with his father, me with my parents. He ended up renting a car, and that's the car that we've been driving around for kind of our little, vacation part of this trip, because it's just going to be easier to take that car back to the airport and drop it off back with the rental car place on our way out, when we fly out to go home. And some of you are actually going to love the little car that he rented. I love it because, like I've said, I love a good cheap car, and that's what it is. So I'll show that to you here as soon as the valet brings it around. And here we are. It's a little base model Crosstrek, you guys. It is so cute. It's cheap and basic, but I love a good cheap car, and that's what this is. So here we are in the Crosstrek. I have wanted to, try and rent and drive one of these for the longest time, and I'm so happy we have one here. This is the base model. This is about $25,195, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a cheap economical car, but still, everything in here, the one thing that Subaru does really well is they do a great utilitarian vehicle. And even though it is, a base model economy car, we've still got a lot of nice trimmings and touches around here. We've got upholstery that goes all the way up to the windowsill. We've got nice soft touch plastics here on the dash. It's not hard plastic. We've got 2 big screens. It's funny, I actually like this array better than the 11-inch screen that Subaru does on most of their cars and the upper trims of Crosstrek and stuff. Don't mind that, that's just because of the camera, but I like this because it allows you to kind of separate different things out. So you have CarPlay on the top, and then you've got kind of vehicle functions and stuff on the bottom. And if you've ever seen any of Subaru's new vehicles with the big screen, that 11-inch screen gets really busy because everything gets kind of crammed in here in some way. And so you've got usually like a ribbon at the top with random stuff. You've got the climate stuff at a ribbon on the bottom, and the CarPlay is kind of smashed between the two. It's just not, I don't know, this I actually prefer a lot better than, or I prefer much more to the big giant screen. I wish there were more physical buttons. That is where Toyota's new cars are nicer, in that a lot of this stuff, there are physical buttons for that. This is kind of almost more like the Lexus way of doing things, but it's fine. And otherwise, again, here's another cheap, economical car that's got a nicer interior, you know, much nicer materials, soft touch, you know, in quite a bit of these different places. Even, you know, it's cheap padding, but it's a nicely rubberized texture. This interior feels better to me than the new interiors in, you know, $40,000-$50,000 Tacomas and that $50,000 Land Cruiser 1958. So I've been getting a lot of comments from folks recently about, well, you know, if you that's how much things cost, and if you want a nice interior, you've got to spend a lot of money. And it's just not true, because look at what Honda in the Civic and, you know, Subaru in this Crosstrek, look what they're doing. And we still have an interior that is, you know, way more than serviceable. This is really comfortable. Nice seats as well, good support. Subaru actually, recently they've been doing really good seats. This is a nice thick seat, good amount of bolstering and padding. Just a really great, comfortable car. Really, my only complaint with this car is that this is the base engine, of course. It's the 2-liter, not the 2.5-liter, and it's a little bit slow, and it can get quite loud. That is a hallmark of Subaru Boxer engines, is they tend to be gruffer and rougher, you know, than like a Honda 2-liter 4 or a Toyota 2-liter 4 or something like that. But, you know, for a little rental car, $25,000 economy car, it's fine. I don't think I'd want to drive this in Texas. I would definitely, if I were to buy a Crosstrek, I would definitely go for either a Sport or a Limited in order to get the 2.5-liter. But, you know, all other things considered, this is a great little car. And it's the perfect size, especially for Hawaii. But if you live in a big city, this car has such a compact footprint. You know, it is a taller vehicle because it's kind of been jacked up to be like a crossover, but the footprint of this car is so nice and small, very compact, that it makes it infinitely parkable, infinitely maneuverable. I have very few, you know, negative things to say. And on top of that, of course, this has, you know, Subaru's legendary symmetrical all-wheel drive. And so winter, wet, slick, you know, roads, mountain trails, you know, dirt, mud, whatever, a Subaru will get you through. If you put, I've said this before in a few videos, if you put cross-climate tires on a Subaru, Michelin cross-climate tires on a Subaru, you can get through anything. And because these cars are so light and so small, they can actually go places and do things that my GX couldn't, because it's bigger, it's heavier, and so forth. Oh, and one more thing, at least this Crosstrek comes from Japan. This car has a J VIN, and much like many other Japanese assembled cars, build quality, outstanding. No squeaks, no rattles, nothing feels loose or, you know, flimsy in any way. There is hard plastic in here, of course, but even the hard plastics feel nice. There's a, you know, a nice texturing to them. No squeaks, no rattles. Yeah. You know, it's funny, this Crosstrek doesn't make super pleasant noises either, but, you know, again, $25,000, I can forgive that. But $55,000 in the Land Cruiser, yeah, no, I don't think so. And this Crosstrek, actually, because Subaru really prioritizes all their different safety features, this Crosstrek has, you know, as advanced technology as that Land Cruiser. And in fact, this one, because all new Subarus have the steering responsive LED headlights, this Crosstrek's got that too, and the Land Cruiser does not. All right, guys. So, what did you think? This was kind of the trip of cheap base model economy cars, and if you guys know me at all, that you guys know that that is like my vibe. I love a cheap, base model economy car because these kind of cars, these 23, 24, 25 grand, $1,000 cars, that is what the really the average person out there is looking for. The people looking at Land Cruisers and GXs and LX600s, I mean, they are priced so far outside of what a normal everyday American can afford that I really enjoy getting back into these, base model cheap cars. I hope you enjoyed looking at the Crosstrek and the Civic, of course. And now we're going to move on to some of the other fun stuff from our trip. So I definitely didn't want to leave Hawaii and leave this video without showing you, some of the beauty of our home, our island home. And then after that, we are going to do some shopping. So if you want to stick around and, see more from Hawaii, stay with me. If you don't, I also totally understand. But let's get on to the scenery, and then we'll get on to shopping after that. Alright guys, the first thing I wanted to show you is the beach that's about 5 minutes walking distance from my parents' house. And no, they don't live in any of those McMansions that you see over there, but this is the beach that I grew up on. It is right down the street from where my parents live, and it's just beautiful and amazing and quiet. And it's funny because, my friends and I would come here after school on like a random Wednesday afternoon when we were kids, and just growing up here and living that life, it's funny because I never realized how incredibly blessed we were to be able to do that. Obviously living in Texas, now I realize it, but yeah, just had to show you guys this. And now we are on the southeastern shore. This is a beach called Sandy Beach. It is more of a local spot than a tourist spot, but it's still so beautiful. And I wanted to show you this because even on an overcast, cloudy, winter-ish day in Hawaii, the beaches here are so beautiful. Just listening to the waves is so amazing. This is Christmas Eve here in Hawaii. We got away to the beach for a few minutes and had just such a wonderful time, disconnecting and enjoying the view. Hey guys, well I am on my way to Starbucks, which is right there, but check it out, there is a original Land Cruiser Prado. This obviously, as you can see, is a JDM import. The steering wheel's on the right. This is why I love coming to Hawaii, because you see all these different cars. There's such a big Japanese car culture here. And look at this amazing, this thing is in like absolutely incredible condition too. Look at the paint. Absolutely incredible. Beautiful. And you can really see, I mean, how the GX evolved from, our GX, how it evolved from this Land Cruiser Prado. So cool. Alright guys, check it out. This is another Japanese import, and this one still has a Japanese plate on it. How cool is that? Now, at first glance, this looks like a first generation Lexus GS, but if we look at the back as it rolls by, this is actually a Toyota Aristo. And the Aristo was the Japanese version of the Lexus GX because Lexus didn't exist there at the time. And the Aristo actually got some engines that we never got in the GS as well. Yeah, look what's pulling in now. Ugh, it's a 1958 in white. And of course, no trip to Hawaii or video in Hawaii would be complete without me showing you guys the iconic, the classic, and the overly crowded Waikiki beach. Now, I have to tell you guys, coming from Hawaii, being from here and going back so often, Waikiki is not my favorite spot on the island. There are so many more beautiful beaches, but I had to share this with you because this is what everyone thinks of when they think of Hawaii. Look at this amazing day that we had here, you guys. It is just, Hawaii is paradise on earth. If you've never been here, I highly urge you, if you have the time and you can get to the islands, it is one of those places on earth that I think everyone should go to at least once. Look at Diamond Head out there in the background. It is so incredibly beautiful. And the thing about Hawaii that if you've never been here, you've never seen the beaches or put your feet in the water here, Because of where Hawaii is on the globe, the water in Hawaii is usually about 78 degrees. So I grew up for a part of my life in California, and in California, when you go into the ocean, most of the time you need a wetsuit because the water, as you get closer to the continental US, is quite cold. But here in Hawaii, year-round, the water here is about 78 degrees. The temperatures outside here never get really below 60. It's just so amazing, and I love coming during the winter because as I'm shooting this, I think back in Texas it's probably about 30 or 40 degrees, so I would much rather be here. And last but not least, I wanted to show you guys the view from our room at the Hawaii Prince Hotel. This is where we always stay. When we're not staying with our parents, this is our home away from home. We love the Prince. It's one of the most wonderful hotels we've ever stayed at. It is not in Waikiki proper, it is closer to Ala Moana Center. And as you can see here, it is on what is called the Alawai Yacht Harbor. The thing I love about the Prince is not only is the service and the staff so incredibly friendly, but because you're not in Waikiki proper and you're kind of away from the beaches that are overly crowded like we saw, the Prince allows you real easy access in and out of the hotel. There's a beautiful infinity pool downstairs, and just the vibe at the hotel is so much more laid back, so much more relaxed than staying in the crowded, congested, city center of Waikiki. Look at this water out here. The number one thing I love to do when we come to Hawaii is go to a beach, or in this case, look out my hotel window, just watch the waves. It's so relaxing. It just takes away every last bit of stress that you might have. The slow movement of, the waves, looking at all the boats out on the ocean and the surfers enjoying the water. If I could live here, if we could afford to move back here, I definitely would, because why wouldn't you? For our last night in Hawaii, the Hilton Hawaiian Village right next door put on a fireworks show, and look how amazing this is. Ending our trip with a bang. Amazing. All right, guys, and last but not least, I wanted to bring you along on a few trips to the mall that we took and some of the shopping that we got to do, because there's one store that we just does not exist up here. I don't think it exists outside of Japan other than the store that we went to in Hawaii. And then on top of that, the other thing, huge travel tip for any of you who, like me, enjoy, spending money frivolously on high-end designer items and such. Big travel tip, if you're going to Hawaii and you enjoy those kind of things, save your shopping until you get there. And the reason being, actually there's two reasons, but the first one and the big one is a lot of the high-end designer, bag brands and jewelry brands and things like that, because of the huge volume of international tourists that go to Hawaii, even the highest end brands like Tiffany Co, Louis Vuitton, Bottega Veneta, Gucci, they offer like lower prices in Hawaii than they do on the continent. And you don't need a passport. You don't need to be, you don't need to be able to shop duty free. The retail prices in the stores in Hawaii is lower, and it's anywhere from like 8% all the way. I think Gucci is like 20 or 25% lower in Hawaii than it would be on the mainland or shopping online. So if you're going to be in Hawaii and again, you have your eye on something from any of those brands, wait till you get to Hawaii so you can see what the price is there, because chances are it's lower. And on top of that, in Hawaii, the sales tax on any purchase is only 4.75 or 4.25%. So buying a high-end item, big ticket item, not only are you, chances are going to be saving on the just the base, retail price, but then you're also getting a big break on tax versus, your home state. Here in Texas, it's like 8.25%. So the tax rate is half in Hawaii what it is here. And so I saved a bunch of money on some of the stuff that I bought. And then there's also a store from Japan that has an outpost in Hawaii that is so fun. We always go there. So let's take a look at some shopping. Alright guys, here we are at Ala Moana Center. Ala Moana is Hawaii's biggest shopping center. It's probably the biggest outdoor shopping mall in the world. Every store that you can ever imagine, from the lowest end to the highest end, is here, and it's one of our favorite places to come whenever we're in the islands. What we're going to do today, however, is we're going to go pick up a present, my Christmas present to myself. That is sort of also my bonus present from work. And it is at a store that you'll all know. It's right there. Yes, I know. If you don't like high-end items, if you think this is frivolous, feel free to just click out now. But I found something, had to have it. Price is lower in Hawaii, so I bought it. Next up, from the highest end, we're going down to the lowest end, although this is not necessarily low end, but this is Don Quijote. And Don Quijote is a store that's huge in Japan, but they don't really have a presence outside of Japan except for in Hawaii. And one of the coolest things at Don Quijote that we always have to go look at are all the Japanese products that you can really only find here or on eBay. As you can see, it's all about Japan and Japanese culture. All the cool things. I could do a whole video on Don Quijote alone. Maybe I should do that next time we come back. And of course, the food at Don Quixote is not to be missed. If you love Japanese cuisine, this is the place you want to be. They have everything from takeaway foods to full sit down. I could literally just eat everything here. Okay guys, I found what I was looking for. So if you're a stationary person, you know, like pens and pencils and this kind of stuff, and you're not a big snob about it, meaning like you won't only use like the Mont Blanc and stuff, you probably know that Japanese companies make some of the best writing, you know, pens and pencils, and not expensive stuff either. And really the only place you can get it is in Japan, or, you know, someplace like this. So I found a bunch of stuff, and just gonna browse around and see what there is to see, but let me show you. Alright guys, so as you can see, you know, it's like the same brands that we can get here: Zebra, Uniball, Pentel, etc. But as you can see, the packaging is all in Japanese. And I think the thing is, so much of business that's conducted in Japan is still done by hand. A lot of writing happens by hand. And maybe as a result of that, Japanese stationery is just, you know, a level or 5 above what we can get here. There's so many funky like tools and stuff. I have this like mini pen that I got in Japan, or from Japan at one point. It's just, I love browsing this kind of stuff, especially when you can see it in person and handle it in person. I'll probably end up with like 5 or 10 things from here, but that's okay, because I can only get it here. And finally, last but not least, we're going to a store that is a local institution. It's called Martin & MacArthur, and they specialize in woodworking with Hawaiian koa. Now, Hawaiian koa is a very specific type of wood that is native to Hawaii. And a fun fact about koa is you can't actually cut it down. You can't harvest it unless the koa tree itself has fallen. So anything that you see made of koa is limited production. It's, you know, it's from a tree that has fallen, that they were able to reclaim and mill and harvest the wood from. And we're in here because John is going to be buying me a few things for Christmas. I love when we're on trips to go out and buy things that you couldn't otherwise get. So although you can order things from Martin & MacArthur online, I love just picking up special little mementos from all the trips that we take. And I actually, oddly enough, to this point, we don't have anything from Martin & MacArthur in our home, even though we're from here and we come back to Hawaii all the time. So realizing that we didn't have anything, I really wanted to stop by here and pick something up. And here's what we got. John bought me 2 Hawaiian koa boxes, and the magical thing about koa, as you can see, is the way that it shines in the light. Koa has kind of these shimmery, almost silk-like strands within it, and they just change in the light. They're so incredibly beautiful. And one of these boxes will hold my jewelry, and the other one will hold something else somewhere else. And thank you, John, for my presence. All right, guys. Well, that was our trip. I hope that you enjoyed some part of this video. If you are still with me here at the end of the video, thank you so much for watching it. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you felt like you were with us. I hope the scenery and some of the shopping was fun. If you are someplace like where I am right now, where it is just like the coldest winter months. I hope the warm Hawaiian sun brought a smile to your face and some joy to your day. Thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate it. And you guys, I am so excited for what is to come here on this channel this year. I'm gonna be trying a bunch of new stuff. You'll see some updates on the positioning of this channel as well here in the coming bit as soon as I can film and edit that. I so appreciate all of you being here with me. As always, you guys are truly, truly, truly the best. And honestly, here's the thing, you know, as crappy as, you know, some of the stuff going on in our lives is, the community that you have helped me build here, the way some of you reached out over the holiday because you hadn't heard from me. Thank you. Like it means so much to me. So thank you to all of you for being here, helping me build this community. I love you guys to pieces, and I will talk to you again real soon. Have a great one and take care.